Let's also talk about people travelling in and out of this country, carrying vital supplies for us. We've got a whole perfect storm of supply chain issues, and I do understand that they're not all in control of this government, of course. A lot of these are global issues. We see it happening in America, in Asia, across the whole of Europe as well. But we do have a particular issue with a shortage of HGV drivers in this country. And there's a lot of concern now that part of the problem is not just obviously the pay and conditions, and of course people going back home not wanting to come to this country, opening up visas, but this issue of cabotage rights. Can you explain what the government's going to do about whether or not lorry drivers are allowed to carry goods and collect other goods and not spend, well, frankly, days on the road with a completely empty container on the back of their lorry, rather pointlessly because of silly EU rules that we've decided to adopt as well?
Yeah, so cabotage is this ability to pick up and drop off domestically within a market. And at the moment, there's a limit on that. So let's say that a driver comes over here from Europe with cargo in the back of their lorry. They drop it off. There's a very strict limit about how many other domestic trips, just 2 within 7 days, that they could make here before they return home again. What we propose to do before the end of the year is to allow an unlimited number of pick-up and drop-offs for that driver within a 14-day period, after which time they must return home. And I'd say this is one, being able to write these rules as we want them, suitable for our domestic market at any given time, is one of the advantages we have of being outside the EU. It's our decision. We'll make it work for our economy. We propose to do this for just a 6-month period because we are now seeing a lot more people apply to become lorry drivers. In fact, 3 times as many provisional HGV licenses being applied for now than before coronavirus, which is a sign that people are responding to the better salaries.
And that's great news. But of course they can apply for it, but they actually have to get those their tests approved and their license approved by the DVLA and DVSA. And of course we've still got big backlogs there. They're threatening a strike.
Good news on that. Actually, let me bring you fresh news. First of all, if you apply for your lorry license, I've actually just sent off for to find out if this was the case. It takes you get the information through immediately. When you make the application, even though it includes medical forms, you're getting a response within 4 days now. So you can get your provisional license. But if we spoke this time next week, you could have your provisional license. And in terms of the training, that is a private sector activity, which can take anywhere from a month to a year, depending on which route you go through. In terms of testing, we have spare test capacity for the first time now. There are 615 tests available this week. So if you've got the training done, you can take your test at DVSA.
Okay, maybe Sir Keir Starmer's watching, and he'll be trying to go
first, though.
He's going to go again, second time lucky. We've also got Unite Union and other unions talking about the possibility of basically imposing strikes on us, basically to try and get better conditions and pay for more lorry drivers. There's talk about them holding Christmas hostage. Will the government allow those strikes to go ahead?
I think they'd find a quick route to making themselves the most unpopular union in Britain if they were to do this. They actually only represent 15% of lorry drivers, so it's not like the 1970s where they ran the show. Salaries have already gone up dramatically, so their call on salaries is slightly difficult to understand. And with regard to facilities, which are privately run, the government doesn't run the HGV facilities, I do agree, and we do want to see them improved. In fact, last year we carried out a consultation, actually included Unite in it, about what we should be doing to encourage, which is to do with things like planning, better lorry stop facilities. So I'm all in favour of that. We do intend as a government to see them improved, but I don't think striking at this point in time would benefit anyone, least of all the unions, who'd be incredibly unpopular for it.
Just finally, do you think, along with the visas, seasonal workers, abattoirs, HGV lorry changes, cabotage, all of these different things that are being put in place, do you think the government is now doing enough to save Christmas, given that it was scuppered for so many millions of people last year?
Yeah, I think we've got to be careful not to sort of report ourselves into a crisis with this, with lorry drivers particularly, which we know is, as you mentioned at the beginning, a global issue. We've now taken 25 separate measures, including this cabotage measure this morning. We're seeing it having an impact because we've got 3 times as many people coming into training now, which is fantastic. And a lot of the other reports I've seen this week, for example, about the ports, I saw reports about Felixstowe. A single ship was diverted by Maersk, which is the biggest cargo shipping line. And I speak to Maersk, and I spoke to the port last night. And it transpires that, this is just run-of-the-mill, usual things. They divert ships around all the time. There are far more ships in the coming weeks being diverted from Le Havre and elsewhere. And actually, the ports are running relatively smoothly, though under global pressure. We understand that. But as I say, we will have a much better Christmas than last year when I was on your programme discussing whether we'd be able to get together with family and friends. You'll certainly be able to do this year, and you'll be able to have food on the table, and I hope nice Christmas presents for the kids.
Grant Shapps, Transport Secretary, really appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much.